This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're at the Tottenham Stadium. I'm delighted to be joined by Adam Smith, fresh off the back of a huge week for Boxer and Sky. First of all, Adam, how are we?
I'm good, Harry, thank you. How are you? You well?
Great, good to be with your company again. Obviously, standing back, taking it all in. What are your first thoughts with this one, Adam?
Look, it's not the fight we wanted to see. We wanted to see Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. That would have been unbelievable, but yeah, this is boxing, and as much as Anthony, I think, and Tyson both wanted the fight, it couldn't be made. So the show's got to go on. Anthony, I think we won't see until next year. I think he'll take some time off, and Tyson needed a fight before Christmas. I think we're probably pleased it's a British name rather than a Manuel Charr or maybe a Jermaine Franklin or someone like that. But it's a tough one because obviously Derek has had 2 fights with him before, and he's lost both of them. He's had an Indian summer to his career, Derek. He's coming off a win against Kubrat Pulev. He'll bring everything he can, but he's a massive underdog in this. But I think it's an entertainment statement. It's Tyson Fury, coming back. Another stadium show in Britain at the wonderful Tottenham Hotspur. Fantastic being back here, actually. It's a great stadium. And I think it's a chance for the fans to come out and see Tyson Fury in a ring. Derek will give it everything he's got, as he always does. He's a North London boy as well. So it's I can understand the sort of criticism that the fight's getting because it's not the fight that everybody wanted. But ultimately, it's the world heavyweight title, and people will watch.
How much have those 2 individuals changed since their last outing, fighting each other, that is?
How much have they changed?
How long you got?
They're still characters, aren't they? They've always been big personalities in the sport. I think a lot of us have a soft spot for both Tyson and Derek. And they've changed in that Derek has made a career for himself late on in Indian summer where he's been physically strong and he's not won everything, but he's given it a go each and every time. This War-Chisora, those great fights with Dillian White, Joe Parker, and obviously Alexander Usyk. And he's coming off a win over Pulev. So I don't want to see him go on too long. Derek, he's been around forever, but he's got a huge opportunity, a big payday, a challenge for the world heavyweight title. 10 years on since he went in with Vitaly Klitschko, and ultimately the team around him obviously thought this was right. But I think the difference is that Tyson Fury has evolved as an incredible fighting machine. Not only the skill set, but he's added power to his game under Sugar Hill and the Kronk training. You saw that in the Wilder fights in the trilogy. You saw that obviously against Dillian White. So Tyson comes into this a very different sort of fighter, I think, than when he fought Derek previously, which I think is going to be very difficult for Derek to overturn. But it's heavyweight boxing, so people will watch. There'll be lots of razzmatazz in the build-up, and it'll be an event here at Tottenham.
Do you think this will be the last time we see Fury fight on home soil, or are you expecting more after this?
I think we don't know with Tyson Fury. He said to us in the spring he wants to retire. I didn't believe that. I didn't think that was going to last. I thought he'd go home, see the family, enjoy his time, and then get bored, and that's what's happened. He was saying earlier he wants to fight another 10 times. So who knows with Tyson? I think you've almost got to sort of strike while the iron's hot with Tyson. When you've got an opportunity of seeing him in Britain, and why not come along? It's a pre-Christmas event here, and let's hope the rain stays off. It's not our fight, but it's a fight obviously that interests me because it's about 2 fighters that we've had a long time on the scene, and we've worked with both of them a great deal, especially Derek, and we worked with Dillian. I was interested in that fight, obviously. So, it's come a long way. It's, as I say, not the fight we all wanted to see, but Tyson needs probably the rounds before he goes in with Usyk in the spring, and for Derek, he gets one last hurrah.
Tyson's mapped out his next 3, or perhaps his last 3 fights with Derek Chisora, then Alexander Usyk in 2023, and then Joe Joyce being his mandatory defence. What do you make of that?
As I said, one fight at a time. I think he fights Derek Chisora. He'll go in for the big unification, the undisputed fight. We expect that probably to happen in Saudi and to happen in the spring. And then let's see where we are. Most people will probably think he'll beat Usyk, but Usyk is is an incredible fighter. He's a phenomenal. We've loved working with him. He's got amazing skills, and he might give Tyson Fury a very, very difficult fight. So let's just take one step at a time. Joe Joyce is waiting in the wings. Daniel Dubois, who's on this show. The heavyweight division is thriving. You saw the Parker Joyce fight. That was great. Joe's still knocking around. I know Otto Wallin is as well. We've got Fraser Clark coming through. Deontay Wilder back with a bang. Love to see him fight AJ. There's obviously talk of him fighting Andy Ruiz. There's lots happening in the heavyweight world, and I think you'll see Joshua back next year as well, which is very exciting. So yeah, 2 or 3 years of big heavyweight fights ahead.
I'll put this on you then. How do you think AJ and Wilder get on? How do you think that fight plays out?
I think it's a fight we all want to see. It nearly happened a few years ago. I think it's a fantastic fight, a really, really good fight. I always wanted to see Dillian Whyte against Anthony Joshua as well. I'm not sure. I think White's fighting in a few weeks' time. Look forward to seeing Dillian back. Saw him a few weeks ago. He's still very much part of this picture. I'd love to see him against Joshua. I'd like to see him against Deontay Wilder. I'd like to see AJ Wilder. I'd like to see Joyce against any of them. It's a fantastic time. You just need these fights to be made. Joyce and Parker was made. Ben and George did a great job of getting that one over the line. It's just a shame we didn't get Fury Joshua. But we've got this one. We've got Fury-Chisora. We're going to have to enjoy this one and move forward with this, and then see who AJ fights, and hope some of the really big blockbuster ones are made, especially the most important, which is Fury and Usyk.
How do you rank this trilogy in previous fights and heavyweight fights?
As in regards to the Deontay Wilder Fury trilogy, which they were comparing it about, it's ridiculous to compare it to the Wilder Fury trilogy, which was one of the great trilogies that will go down in history alongside Ali Frazier and Bo Holyfield and other great heavyweight nights. I think this is, they've met twice, and Tyson Fury's been a comprehensive winner on both occasions. We don't know what happens on December 3rd. We can't look into a crystal ball yet. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, but the likelihood is that Fury defends his title, and who knows? I mean, if Chisora can pull off some mammoth upset, it'll be unbelievable, wouldn't it? And one of the biggest in boxing history, period. All likelihood, Fury moves ahead to the Usyk match, and it's difficult. It's a trilogy of characters. It's a trilogy of the fact that they love each other one minute and hate each other the next, and that's what they need to push this fight. They're two of the biggest personalities we've had in British boxing in the last couple of decades, and they meet again. As I said, Derek's from North London. He'll bring the war. Tyson's fighting in the Stadium Show for the second time in 2022. It's not the fight we all wanted to see as fans. But I think in this sort of situation, you've got to embrace what you've got.
Moving back to boxing and yourself, the viewing figures for Saturday night, huge. You must be delighted, Adam. Absolutely,
really delighted. The biggest ever watched sports event from the women on Sky. Biggest ever women's sporting event on Sky, which was fantastic. And the biggest women's boxing event in history. And the second most watched event since 2014. Only Eubank Williams was slightly higher, male or female. So an unbelievable night it was on Saturday at the O2. Really buoyed by the fact that we had a sold out arena. Hats off to Boxer for their incredible innovation and their collaboration, and the setup and the ring walks and the music and the 35% of women in the crowds. But to get that, and I think 40% of women watching as well, it was fantastic. And to see the young kids there as well, who are inspired by this new breed, this great culmination, a watershed moment, a breakthrough moment for women's boxing, and it's fantastic. And I was saying to Karis and Caroline and Lauren, I want to see them headline stadium shows in 3 years' time. It's absolutely brilliant for women's sport. It's about time. It's something that we've always known we should have got to that moment, but an all-female event, and for all the fighters to box out of their skin and to perform as they did. There were no losers on Saturday night last week. They were all covered in glory. Clarissa Shields, unbelievable, yes, but every one of them deserves incredible incredible thank you from all of us, because they were brilliant. But we knew it all along. We knew how good they were, and they showed it. And it's given us real momentum. We go into Tasha Jonas in a few weeks' time, a headlining in Manchester, another unification for Tasha. Fantastic time for women's boxing. Katie back next week. It's brilliant, and we need to build on it, all of us together. And hopefully in 2 or 3 years' time, there will be those incredible stadium shows. Maybe Tottenham Hotspur will be host to, top of the bill women's fights, whether that's over 2 minutes or 3 minute rounds, and how it evolves. But what a breakthrough Saturday night was.
You mentioned 3-minute rounds. I had discussions with Joe Gallagher yesterday and Natasha as well. Why don't try 12-2s for a start and then move on to maybe 3-minute rounds? What do you think of that, Adam?
I think a lot of the female fighters I've spoken to want 3-minute rounds. For me, it's about parity. For me, it's about moving towards equality, and we've come such a long way. And now it's our chance for women's boxing to really boom, and be that over 10 twos, 12 twos, 12 threes. Let it develop, let it flourish, let it blossom. Let Clarissa and Katie and the real pioneers, let them sort of drive it forward. They want 12 threes, they want 12 twos. We're listening to them. We're listening to them big time now. So I'd like to see it evolve, and I'm all for the development, and I'd love to see that. 12 twos, 12 threes, I'd love to see it move in that direction.
Because one thing Natasha said to me was, if we're going 12 threes or we're moving up to 3-minute rounds, more work we've got to put in. Where's the money coming? We need equal pay if we're going to be moving up to 3 minutes.
And I think we're going the right direction as well with that. Katie Taylor, and she's got some really good purses over the years, and she's demanded them, and she's excelled. And I think now the other women are really benefiting from them. I'm sure Clarissa and Savannah and Michaela and Alicia got good money on Saturday night. It was an expensive show to put on. You want them to get even more, don't you? And let's see how the commercial development goes, because Saturday night on all our platforms is a big opportunity for the brands to come in, the sponsorship, more money into women's boxing, and hopefully that means more money for the fighters, because they're the brave ones that put their livelihoods on the line each and every time. They're the ones we adore, the fighters. So the fighters should be getting the most money they can possibly get. I'm all for that.
Someone you were really impressed with on Saturday night was Caroline Dubois. On Toe to Toe podcast, the Sky Sports podcast, you mentioned Michaela Mayer she's targeting. What did you think of that?
I think that's great. I think Caroline Dubois alongside Lauren Price and Karis Hardingstall, they were all fabulous on Saturday. I think the three of them could go on to become world champions, maybe even multi-weight champions. What particularly impressed me, not just Caroline's performance, but Caroline's reaction when she won was, I think, just wonderful, because we all know that she looked up to the brigade of fighters in the 2012 Olympics, women boxing for the first time, the likes of Clarissa and Nicola and Tasha and Savannah and Katie. And she was an 11-year-old girl. And on Saturday night, her dream came true. She fought in front of a packed-out crowd who were all there for her in her fourth fight. And just look back at the replays of her reaction. It was almost like she'd won a world title fight. So, that was absolutely brilliant to see. Would I like her to fight the likes of Michaela Mayer, etc., down the line? Of course. We want these big fights to happen. It's going to be holding these Olympians back, Lauren, Karis and Caroline, because they're so good, and matching them properly in their early stages of their career. But I think we're going to move fast with them, and I could see them in big fights within 12 to 18 months.
Just preview November 12th for me. Natasha Jonas again, trying to add another belt to the collection, but also Ricky Hatton on the same night as well. Just preview that fight for me.
I think Tasha was inspired yet again by what happened last Saturday, because she messaged me and said, I want Clarissa. I want the McCaskill.
She said that. She said that she would go to the US to fight Clarissa. That's what she said to me yesterday.
She wants them all. She wants it to unify, first of all, at a division which is 3 weight divisions above where she was. Then she wants to go back down. She'll fight anyone, and I think that's brilliant. And Tasha, towards the back end of her career, being inspired again is fantastic. She's headlining, and rightfully so, in Manchester on November the 12th. We've got that terrific fight between Smith and Benjamin. Really looking forward to that. Brad Ray, Fraser Clark back. Got such high hopes for him. He's going to be a real part of this big heavyweight mix in the next year or two. And, of course, the Ricky Hatton, Marco Antonio Barrera exhibition as we don our caps to 2 Hall of Famers, 2 legends of the sport. So plenty to look forward forward to in Manchester on our next UK fight night.
Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much to Boxing Social.